And we're back
We're live
at the 5D office.
with episode 5 of the BE1NG podcast. As always, I'm John.
And I'm Corey. We're here sitting in the bamboo, hoping we don't get any ticks today.
Yeah, fuck the ticks.
And we noticed that the bamboo was overtaking our office. We had some crazy bamboo growing over here.
I don't know if they could see it.
Honestly. But
No, the bamboo wants to be a part of it, but they can't be in our video.
no, they can't, unfortunately. It's crazy how fast that stuff grows. Like,
No,
you know in like the Chinese torture, how they would lay somebody on the ground and they would let bamboo grow through their chest?
Yes, I've heard about that.
Dude.
No, that's nuts because that shit was there or not there like 5 days ago,
Yeah, last time we were here.
which was like last week.
Yeah, and we did take a week off of this. We had a busy week with work and whatnot. But we got the podcast up yesterday. I don't know when this is gonna be up, but we're gonna be shooting for posting these every. I like to say Monday 3 p.m. is the best time to be posting these. So hold us accountable, fans.
Yeah, for anyone out there watching this, make sure we post on Monday at 3 p.m. If we don't, shit on us in the comments, I guess.
Yeah, like shit on us. Like the lady who called me, I would love to see this drugged up hippie yelling at me on the train. We need more of that energy. We need that energy.
That energy is what propels us to keep going, yeah.
No, because like when people mock you, they're just kind of jealous.
Yeah, or they just like don't get it, which that lady probably just. And the fact she said she was on the train, she's probably from like New York. She probably has zero clue about what's going on out in the real world because
the
I don't
Astro?
even consider New York City the real world. Like real world, you got to be out in nature like we are right now.
Bro, we
Being
went to New York.
connected.
It's been a long time since I was in New York. We went for the filming of the film that I made in the spring. And you told me, because you've been to New York, you said you're going to see some crazy shit. And I was like, yeah, I'll see some crazy shit. We're walking out of Penn Station, and the first thing I see is this crackhead run in, clearly off of some sort of drugs, run into Penn Station with his pants sagging on his ankles, no underwear on, just like beef out, running into Central Station. I'm like, oh shit, we're in New York.
I literally said too. I was like, by the time we get out of the doors of Penn Station, you're gonna see like a crackhead. I literally said that, and we didn't even have to leave Penn Station before we saw that guy.
Got off the escalator. and I
God
already
bless
had a
him. I hope
face
he's.
of
I hope
beef.
he's well. I hope he's well.
Now that's a crazy concept too. Is like, do you think that those people feel good? Because the only way that they can feel good is taking those drugs that they're constantly.
I
on.
think they feel good when they're on the drugs, but I also don't even think they're like self-aware enough to know that they don't feel well. I think they're just so drugged out that like, if you were to ask them like, how do you feel? Like those people, the ones that are like just running around like loose, like they got no heads on them, like those people, I don't even think they're like aware enough to know how they feel. I think they just like all they know, like their brain is so messed up. All they know is like, how am I gonna get my next fix? I think that's like all they're thinking about.
You're just chasing the dragon.
Yeah.
At that point.
But I've also been seeing clips on TikTok of like the Santa Cruz medical guy. I forget his first name. Brendan. Yeah, Brendan. He's been going out. I think he's somewhere out in Cali. But whatever, he's been going up to the homeless people and like asking them why they're like essentially why they're homeless. He was like giving them money and stuff and like healthy food, and those people can like have a conversation and talk. They're like aware that they're addicted to like heroin and like fentanyl. Like they literally straight up was like, yeah, he was like, are you guys on fentanyl? And they were like, yeah, like we are. Like they were fully aware and conscious that they have like a drug problem. And he was like, you guys can get clean, blah blah blah. But the problem is with the homeless people, that's why there's so many of them on the streets, because the shelters will only accept you if you're clean. So like a heroin addict isn't going to show up to the shelter because they're going to know they're not clean, and there's no chance of them getting clean, you know what I mean? So that's why they're all on the street.
And Like, how do you think it feels to be that outside of like what is real all the time? Because that's a crazy concept. We smoke pot and whatever. Like you smoke pot too often, you feel like disconnected from what is. But like a hardcore drugs like that, like you're completely disconnected from like what is real, like who you are as a person. Like you're not connected at all to like, I mean, I guess you are supremely connected in the aspect of like when you take those drugs, like they are a gateway to the spiritual realms. Like that's why these people get so hooked to it.
Like heroin is a gateway to like the spiritual realm?
I think that every drug in a sense does connect you in a certain way to the spiritual realms.
I could agree with that statement, but I also would think that a drug like that would bring you to a negative place.
No, it could.
And not a high one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably what would happen. But they also feel like $1 million.
Yeah.
Like they feel great, or that's what they would tell you. That's why they always do it. Like Joey Diaz clip, when he's taking heroin, he's like, feels like I got hugged by God. That's what he's saying, Joey Diaz. Shout out Coco Diaz. What are we having? Technical difficulties right now? All right, we're back though.
We're back. I just need to raise the mics up a little bit.
We've been talking about a little bit of everything right now, but the main idea, or theme of the podcast we want to get into today is nutrition and how having good nutritional balance in your life could ultimately get you more connected to Source, God, the divine, etc. So I feel like the drugs is kind of a good gateway into that, because that's what not to do. Don't put that stuff in your body.
Well, I don't think labeling drugs as bad is necessarily.
I'm talking heroin.
Yeah. No, obviously, I understand what you're talking about. I'm just rephrasing it, and like drugs and food and exercise and meditation, like they're all tools to be divinely connected. And if you use your tools correctly and have a whole toolbox of these tools that you can utilize to connect divinely, and you do your breath work, you do your exercise, you do your yoga and your meditation and your clean eating and your mindful practices and your self-love, like when all of that comes into alignment, you feel this supreme connection to what is. And I feel and now that we both have been embodying all this, we feel very in line with ourselves, very connected with ourselves, and we're seeing that reflected in our lives.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it starts with the diet, honestly, because not starts with the diet, because like we were meditating and stuff before we got into like the nutrition part of it, but now I could totally see a difference in my mental clarity, in my meditations and stuff, from not having like what they call brain fog, essentially, which like when you have that from eating like processed foods and all that ultra processed foods, all that stuff, you're not even aware that you're having that fog until it goes away from when you start eating clean. And I think that's really cool. Or like the gut, like I'm assuming my gut health has been getting better because I'm starting to get abs a little bit. So that's that's not reflective of it, but obviously you've been eating healthy. It could be. Like, do you look at the toilet bowl after you take a crap? Yeah, and it's good, I think.
Like, dude, you could
Besides tell. After the black coffee, though.
After the black coffee, it's just
that's
Hershey squirts.
Dude, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, why do people take laxatives, yo? Like, they can't shit and stuff. It's like, if you can't shit, just drink a black coffee. Trust. Like, your body will be cleansed if you drink a black coffee.
No, that's my natural diet.
And then it's also like these people are like, oh, I can't poop. It's like, what food are you eating all the time? It's like nothing good if you can't. If your body can't make proper bowel movements, that should be like a sign that you're not eating properly.
And not only does the eating properly, you get into good physical condition, but the mental condition, like you said, the mental fog, you feel more clear mentally through the food rather than just physically. Like the physical, it takes a while for it to manifest, right? And it's like, I was thinking about it like this. Like, I used to just be a degenerate and sit in my bed and eat Lucky Charms and Oreos freshman year of college. And it was like, holy shit, like I'm made of 50% sweets and snacks and processed garbage,
Fake sugars,
and fried foods,
high fructose corn
exactly.
syrup, all that
And
stuff.
then like as you start to embody all these holistic health practices, and we're eating pasture raised organic eggs, and we're eating grass fed beef, and we're eating all organic fruits, and like now I'm made of all natural things. My body is I like to try and make sure that I'm consuming 80% of my diet is stuff that will serve me. That's stuff that there's no guilt in me after I eat it. I eat it and I feel good and I feel energized. And then the other 20%, it's like I'm not going to McDonald's, but it's like I'll eat a chocolate chip cookie. Like it's
That's one thing. Like within the last 2 weeks or so, I've been feeling guilty when I have like a snack. Like last night, I had chocolate chip cookies, and I felt so like guilty about it, honestly. But I feel like it's also good that I'm starting to feel guilty, because it's like my body is telling me that, like, because I don't feel good after eating that shit. Like and it's like short-term dopamine versus like long-lasting dopamine. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna eat the cookie now, but in 20 minutes after the cookie's digested in my body, am I gonna still feel good? No. But it's like, maybe I eat this. I can't even say the meals I've been eating are bad, because like I like eating clean, like it tastes good and stuff. But like people always shit on eating clean because it's like, oh, it doesn't taste good. But like, would you rather the food not taste good and you feel good the rest of the day, or the food tastes good and you not feel good the rest of the day?
Yeah, but even if like, bro, like I eat clean and everything that I eat tastes good, because like I turned my food into like my art now. It's like, okay, like if I'm gonna eat eggs this morning, I'm not just gonna eat plain eggs with pepper on them. Like I'll cook the eggs up, I'll put a little cheese in there, I'll put avocado on top of it and spread it with a little bit of like chimichurri sauce or whatever I have, and it's like, okay, like this tastes good. Or like a grass-fed ribeye with sweet potato fries that I homemade, and then whatever I'm eating, banana or whatever I'm eating on the side. It's like okay, maybe it would taste better to eat a whole bowl of penne vodka with whatever, but it's like, would it really? Like I feel like my palate has been more inclined for the natural flavors and whatnot now.
Yeah, and I agree, and I've been looking at food as fuel lately. Like when I open the fridge, I'm like, all right, I might not necessarily want this right now, but like, what am I about to eat that's like the best fuel to put in my body? And that's how I've been looking at everything recently. Is just like, is this serving me or is this not serving me in terms of nutrients, all that good stuff. And I think that's a good way to start looking at stuff if you want to get on a diet. It's just like, you could tell by looking at something if it looks like it's going to be good enough for you or good for your body. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't look at the chocolate chip cookie and go, that's going to be good for me. Like, you don't.
It's entertainment.
But like, if you look at the banana, you're like, that looks natural. That looks like my ancestors would put that in their bodies. And that bananas are alkaline too. So I just found that out today.
I think most fruit is alkaline for the most part.
Most fruit is alkaline, I think, but I think there's some that isn't.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. And that's something that I would like to dive more into.
I just saw a video of Christian on the way. Christian Van Camp, we always shout him out. But he was saying in his video, it would take us for you to eat 8 oranges for you to get the same nutrients that it would take our grandparents to only 1 orange. Because the food's so contaminated with the chemicals and stuff these days.
Even like organic oranges?
I don't know about I think he was mainly talking about like if you just want not an organic orange, just like a regular orange. It would take you would have to eat essentially 8 of them to get the same vitamin A, C, etc. that it would take for you to eat 1 like back in the day. Because all the stuff in the soil and the chemicals they're shooting it up with, all that bad stuff.
Because it's like not real food. Like you walk through
GMO.
Stop and Shop, or you walk through these food stores, and you just see what these people have in their carts. And I'm seeing people in their carts with 4 liters of soda and cereal with Red 40 in it, and candy and frozen foods in plastic containers. And I'm like, these people think that they're doing good for themselves. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But
I think those people just aren't thinking about it at all. Honestly, I don't think they're thinking about. Some people, I think, know that it's bad and still choose to eat it anyway, which is fine. I'd rather you know it's bad and you consciously choose to eat it than for the. I think there's also people though that aren't even aware that the stuff they're putting in their bodies is like ultimately killing them long term. Like Brendan from Santa Cruz Medicinals. I saw him. He was about to give some guy $100. He was in like ShopRite to put his Coca-Cola 2 liter of Coca-Cola away, not buy the Coca-Cola, $100 cash, and the guy's like, nah, it just walked away, and it's like, dude, you're nuts. Like I would have taken the $100, left, and then just came back and bought the Coke anyway. Guy folded.
That's deceitful, bro.
That is deceitful. But like the guy's drinking like, bro, you really couldn't put down the Coca-Cola, bro. He valued Coca-Cola, $2 bottle of Coca-Cola over $100.
And it's like, what value do we assign to things? It's like, do I assign more value to going to McDonald's and getting a Big Mac and feeling, oh, this tastes so good, rather than it's like, you know what, I'll get a ribeye and cook and eat that. Like, what value do we assign?
And
to
that's
these
the
things?
other thing. You could fucking get a pack of ground beef and make your own Big Mac, and it would taste probably better, and it would be actually, you could make it in a healthy way instead of it being fried, the patty sitting there for God knows how long. Like, it'd be a real grass-fed beef patty, some organic cheese.
Mom's like, we got Big Macs
Whatever.
at home.
Yeah, like all this stuff. Most of the stuff that you go to the fast foods like restaurants and get, I feel like you could ultimately like make on your own.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously eating clean takes time and effort, but long term, it's the time and effort you put into eating is extremely
and
beneficial.
I think we've spent a lot of time looking into and like embodying the whole eating clean thing. Like, I was trying to do it back even 3 years ago, sophomore year of college, but I didn't know what I was doing because I didn't have the tools or the knowledge of what I should be doing. So I thought what I was doing was right, but it was right to the best ability in my mind. And now it's like, okay, now I have this knowledge and I have this understanding of what should be going in my body, and I'm still not there. And it's like, okay, there's still so much else I could be doing. And I like to say, like, we're dialed in on the macros, but we don't know about we're not dialed in on the micros yet, and these different supplements and whatnot that we could be taking. And
Bro, I'll be dead honest. I don't even know what that even means.
what macro?
People always be saying the macros. Like, what does that even mean? I've never counted calories or anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've never done that either. But I'm saying, when you say macros, like, when I say macros, I'm thinking of, like, getting a lot of calories, carbs, protein.
Is that what a macro is?
Yeah, like the large.
The big stuff.
Yeah.
The
And then the
sugars,
micros is
carbs.
like, oh, like how much magnesium or potassium.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
But, all right.
That's another thing, though. All the minerals that are left out of these foods because of all the shit that they're putting in these foods. Like, I think it's something. There go my keys. But I think it's like over 80%. It's honestly probably higher. Are deficient in like almost every mineral that we have in our body. And our bodies are electromagnetic beings that run off of minerals. So when we're not taking in the proper minerals that are coming through the plants and the fruits and the vegetables, all that stuff, our bodies can't operate at our bodies can't operate optimally. That's the word I was looking for. And that also comes in with the alkaline foods.
We're just optimizing health. That's the whole idea of this life, is like, we have friends who don't want to optimize health, have no interest in like eating clean or going to the gym or doing anything that like really will serve them in longevity and sustainability, right? Like what if everybody was just like, you know what? Let's be healthy. Let's be, if they started treating their body right, their mind would be right, their spirit would be right, and we'd see the whole entire planet just started interacting more cohesively.
Yeah, but it's not fun to put all that stuff away or put that stuff down. Like, it's not fun to not go get McDonald's when you're drunk at night, or it's not fun to fucking not pick up the Oreo or the cake, all that stuff. It's not fun.
Because it's so much fun when you do it.
It's so because it comes back to that dopamine rush. You get that quick dopamine rush when you eat that piece of cake, when you go for the cookie, etc. But then in 20 minutes you don't feel well. Versus if you just sucked it up and ate the banana or the apple or fruit of any kind, a piece of meat, anything, 20 minutes after, you're going to have high energy. You're going to want to go do something. Because all these people these fucking people, man, it's actually annoying. Because, like, they'll eat, like, garbage, and then they'll just sit there all day and then complain about how they're tired, they have no energy, they just want to stay home and watch Netflix, play video games, and it's like, bro, like, you're doing it to yourself. And it's like, I don't even think these people understand, like, that they're doing it to themselves half the time. Or, again, they just don't care. It's either they don't know or they just don't care.
Well, I also think that we have the mindset. We have a very different mindset than most people on this planet.
Yeah, but, like,
because, like, I think a lot of people think very here now, right? Like, we're living here now, but a lot of people aren't thinking about their future, aren't thinking about how this sets them up for the rest of their life. It's like they're not thinking about how eating a sleeve of Oreos every night and sitting down and watching friggin' Jeffrey Dahmer documentaries on Netflix, how that's going to manifest in their life in the future.
Chill on the Dahmer show. The Dahmer show is good. Shout out. I'm not going to shout out Dahmer. I'll shout out Evan Peters, though, because that was a fire acting performance.
Okay.
Good shout, Evan Peters.
I haven't watched it, so I'm just hating. Bro.
But yeah, like my dad, for example, my dad had, I think, how many arteries is there to your heart? Like 6, something. I don't know. But one of them was 90% clogged. My dad's artery was 90% clogged to his heart. That means from that one artery, he was essentially getting 0 blood flow to his heart, which resulted in a heart attack. But up until that point, bro was sitting on the couch every night eating a box of ringdings or just, like, eating donuts and shit, like, in not eating healthy. Like, my mom cooks relatively healthy food, but, like, you could eat a healthy dinner, but, like, the whole day he's drinking coffee, he's at work, he's probably eating whatever's quickest to eat because he's working all day. Then he's coming home having one good meal a day, and then on top of that one good meal, he's having fucking snacks, and then he had a heart attack, and now he doesn't eat snacks anymore, which is good.
Mm-hmm. I think the
like that stuff
yeah,
manifests in your body, and like you're not thinking, oh, if I have a pack of ringdings every night, that one day it's gonna like cause me health trouble and stuff, but like it happens.
Like go back a couple 100, even 1,000 years. Who's having heart attacks? Who's getting cancer? Who's having lung disease? Who's having any of this stuff? It's like that's coming because we don't treat our bodies right and we don't treat our minds right. Like I've said it on a podcast before and it got a shit ton of views on TikTok. Like disease in your mind manifests as disease in your body. Like
shout out Dr. Sebi.
Shout out Dr. Sebi. Shout out Dr. Joe Dispenza. He says it too. It's like we have these high stress levels from these jobs where we're so disconnected and we're just crunching numbers, staring at a screen, hunched over, breathing out of our mouths. And it's like, sit up, take your shoes off, breathe a little bit, and figure out what truly makes you go. What makes the gears tick in you?
Yeah, now I just sat up like this.
In the power position.
In the power position. Shout out Tony Robbins. I think it's in his book Life Force. It's probably somewhere in the book Life Force, but I just saw a clip of him talking about these power positions that he claims, and not that he claims, it's been scientifically researched. He's just the one that I saw talking about it. If you stand like this, like essentially in like a Superman position, like, all right, we cut the camera for a second, but I saw a video about Tony Robbins talking about these power positions. One of them being essentially like a Superman stance, like hand on your hips, chest out, back arched. Oh, yeah, wait, you want to hold the mic?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Like this, right? For 2 minutes at a time, he says it increased testosterone by 20%. And there's also other power positions. I don't know them all. One of them was essentially... What?
Your head's probably cut off.
Oh, fuck, really?
It's okay. Yeah.
All right, it's fine. But another one I think is essentially just sitting like, talk about like man spreading. Essentially like man spreading kind of like I am right now and like almost like Aki type, like when Tate is like sit and hold this again.
Mm.
Like sitting like this. Like that's another power position.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the physiology and stuff behind it, but it's been scientifically researched and been proven to boost testosterone.
Well, when you think about it, that right.
Same thing for women too.
Same thing for women too. Like when you think about that, and then you think about yoga, and you think about the mudras, and it's like all of these yoga positions, all of these mudras that we're doing with our hands, those are all power positions. Those are all having some sort of physical manifestation in our body, whether we realize it or not. And like I've seen when I sit and hold this real quick. Like I do the different mudras. I do this one. I do this one. I have so many different mudras that I do as I speak, and I've realized like how much more clear and concise that I've been able to talk, and not only talk but understand and listen and empathize and feel compassion towards others. It's like I'm much more in tune with myself when I'm using these bodily positions to their full advantage.
Yeah, because you're centered. It literally just brings you back to center when you're like doing that.
Yeah.
Those mudras and stuff.
Yeah, and like you said, like Tony Robbins said, what it boosts testosterone, decreases stress levels, whatever he's talking about.
It decreases
Yes.
cortisol and stuff.
So like yes, like there are certain positions that have been scientifically proven, whatever. But like we've known this. It's not like it's a secret. Like why do you think people have been doing yoga for fucking 3,000 years? Like people have been doing this because they understand. They feel good after they do it, whether they have words to put it into or scientific studies to put it into or not. They know that they feel better than other people, and that's where I'm at. When I wake up in the morning, I go do qigong in my grass and do yoga every morning. It's like I feel great. I feel phenomenal after I do that. And whether other people are like, "Oh, what are you doing in your backyard?" It's like I'm feeling great. Like it. Why does it matter what I'm doing? Maybe you should try. Like it's just.
No, and it's annoying, right? Because it's like, I was telling my sister this last night. She was asking me if I wanted a book by Graham Hancock. I was telling you this before. But I was like, yeah, I would love to read, like, Fingerprints of the Gods, Chariot of the Gods, etc. But it's like, am I going to take in all that information that no one cares to listen to? Because it's annoying. Because, like, I'll tell someone, oh, I read this book. It's scientifically researched, etc. Oh, no, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Immediately dismissing me. And it's like frustrating because it's like you took the time, like you do your qigong and yoga in every morning and you feel amazing, but like you're taking the time to do this stuff, and then people have the balls to come up to you and be like, how are you so happy, or like how are you so high energy all the time? And you tell them, oh, I do my qigong and my yoga, I get sunlight on me first thing in the morning, I eat clean, I go to the gym, XYZ, all this stuff, meditate. And then they're like, oh, that's cool. But then they won't try it, and then they'll still just be suffering and living with stress and all this stuff. And it's like, I'm not trying to, like, put anyone down, but it's like, don't judge others unless you're willing to reflect on yourself and judge yourself. Because, like, if you can't judge yourself first, you can't judge other people. Like, if you can't internally look at yourself and be like, okay, this is where I need to change and do better in my own life, there's no reason you should be commenting like you're a crazy hippie on fucking talking bullshit on YouTube and stuff. Like, these people, like, it's just frustrating, you know?
No, it is frustrating because, like...
And then they get us out of line because they get us all fucking bent out of shape over it.
Well, I think I think in a sense that it's our work. When other people tell us what we're talking about is bullshit, when other people mock us, when other people make fun of us for doing this, because we have friends that don't necessarily support the stuff we do, right? And it's like sometimes they say stuff to us along the lines of like, like that's bullshit, whatever, blah blah blah, poking fun at us. I've been really trying to like transmute that into feeling the empathy and the compassion towards those others. Like, oh, they don't understand. It's not them affecting me. It's me having an effect on them. And it's like if I can take it and just reverse Uno card it right back to them, and it's like, okay, like I don't need to sit there and explain myself. It doesn't matter because they're not going to listen. But if I can take what they're saying and just love them just the same without even giving them the time of day, because most of the time when people say things to us, they're trying to elicit a reaction, right? And we're in a completely reflective state. So there's no reason for us to react to the way these other people are talking to us. There's no reason for us to react to the guy giving us a middle finger in traffic. There's no reason for us to react to our boss when he starts yelling at us and giving us burpees. Like, we can take that and use it as our own work. And it's like, okay, like, this thing happens to me, whether I want to label it negative or positive, but I take it and I transmute it in my own self. It's alchemy. That's all alchemy is. It's like I transmute this energy into something positive, into a lesson.
Yeah, and I saw a quote. I'm gonna not get this quote entirely right, but it's like same premise. It's like when someone pokes fun at you or something, passes judgment, etc. That's their karma manifesting, but your reaction to them, whether if it's negative, that then becomes your karma.
Yes.
And if you don't react or try to transmute that negative energy into something positive, that would then in turn give you good karma.
And I've been really in line with the karma. I don't know if you have, but I think
I always be conscious of my karma.
I'm very conscious.
That's why I don't kill the bugs anymore, bro.
Yeah, I stopped killing the bugs. I mean, we still eat meat, and we're talking about that, and that's a whole other ordeal that we got to work through. But it's all work. Like, but the thing about karma is like, little things happen. It's like, like, how do I deal with this? Like yesterday, my dog gets spayed, right? And I'm sitting home, and this dog is a year-old, pure innocent being, just laying there crying on the ground. I'm the only one home. She's just laying there crying for an hour straight, just in pain. And it's like, like, that's karma. And it's fucked up. Like, you see such an innocent being like that just laying crying, and I just lay down and I pet her, and I'm like, so I'm literally just focusing all my love into my hand and just sending it into her heart.
You think Coda did something in her past life to get her ovaries chopped off?
No, that's not what karma is.
That's not what you're saying right now?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Is because karma's a pendulum, bro. Karma, in the same way that everything else ebbs and flows, karma ebbs and flows. There's a rhythm to karma. So it's like, she had to experience that suffering to awaken positively, right? So the suffering isn't bad. That's not a negative thing. Her experiencing that pain is not a negative thing. Her experiencing that pain is a catalyst for her own awakening. She is a very, obviously the people watching this podcast don't know my dog, but you understand that she's a very human dog. She's very conscious, very loving, very energetic, right? Almost like a manifestation of myself.
So are you trying to say that because she was suffering, going through pain, you were showing her almost extra love, which would then be a catalyst to her awakening?
Exactly. Because, like, I view dogs, domesticated animals, as very human. Like, they are conscious beings. They have a sense of self. Like, if an animal can answer to a name, it has a sense of self. Like, it's almost in that early third density of awareness. So if I can show Coda, my dog, love and allow her to have that sense of self and ease her through her suffering, not only am I awakening myself, but I'm catalyzing her own awakening, because love is the catalyst to understand yourself. So it's like, she goes through that pain, she heals, and we love her. My whole family is just sending this dog love. Like, think about how much love this dog is getting when she's in that intense pain. Everybody's, oh, come here, Coda, come here, baby, you're in so much pain. And it's like, she's awakening because of that. What?
I said it's white people shit.
White people shit, bro.
Nah, but it's facts, though.
No, it's fact. Yeah.
It's good stuff. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Because, like, dude.
That's so funny.
There are animals with that degree of self-awareness, and I see these animals with that self-awareness.
You could also, if we want to talk about the animals for a bit. Yeah. So take Dakota, but then take a dog that's just like running around on the street and like on like an island or something. Like in Belize, they call the dogs pot lickers.
Yeah. Because
no one has a dog on those islands because they're too poor. They can barely fend for themselves. The dogs are just running around licking the pots, any empty scraps they can get. Those dogs are no love. They get no love from no one. They're getting no food, but they're primal. Like, that's low. That's like they're in the second density still. Mm-hmm. They're acting out their primal nature as dogs. To like, if you put my bulldog in the woods, thing's dead in a week.
Clips.
The clip's dead in a week. But, like, you take Coda, I think, could survive for a little bit. But even her, like, these dogs, but that's another thing with humans, like, as we progress on this consciousness chart, we start to lose our primal sense of self. It's good, but you got to, like, find the balance between both.
But that's why we're finding the balance. We're sitting here in the fucking bamboo.
No, we're mad
last
primal
week
right
we
now.
got done. We're climbing bamboo trees, doing handstands in the woods. It's like, we need the balance. Like, yes, we can sit down and read a book, and yes, you can go have sex, and yes, you can go eat food and whatnot. But, like,
well, sex is also primal.
Sex is very primal, yes. But, like,
but yeah, all that other stuff.
All that other stuff, like you
laying
do have
down
to
in my, like, going camping is primal.
Going camping.
We
is
sleep
primal.
in beds every night, like, comfortable. Like, yes, we need shelter and stuff. That's one of, like, the 7 hierarchies of, what's the guy's name? Maslow, all that good stuff. But yeah, like, going out and camping for like a day or two gets you extremely connected to the back and centered within yourself, because you're laying on the grass, or most of the time not even grass, like a rock or something. Like, that gets you extremely connected. Us even just being out here for the 45 minutes to an hour that we talk about on the podcast, just sitting, like, we got our toes in the leaves and stuff. We're surrounded by the bamboo. Like, there's fresh air out here. It's all good for the health, yo.
All so good. Like, do you remember one of the first camping trips we did? We got and stayed out 2 nights in the woods, and when we were done, we went back. Or no, it was after the first night. We went back and we were like, oh, we didn't bring enough food, so we hopped in the car and drove to Burger King.
I thought we went to Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, that's what it was. So we got out of the woods and we go to Chick-fil-A, and we were like, this is society. Like,
it was crazy, honestly.
It was like a trip, and like, we weren't on drugs. We were just in the woods. We were high on nature, and we came out of it, and we realized, like, how low vibrational this rest stop is, and this fried food, and these people coming in, and this material culture. And it's like, that was a major catalyst for our own awakening. Is like, you have these experiences that we can learn from. Like, that experience, we learned, like, oh, you know what? We should do this more often. That was the first time we really realized.
Yeah, and we just did it for fun, just to see, like, what was up. But yeah, that realization was like, yeah, these people are, like, some of these people are working at this rest stop in the middle of Pennsylvania off the side of the highway, like, every day. That's their full-time job. Like, those people, in my opinion, are not real. Like, I don't know how, like, because I say they're not real. Obviously, they're real, but I say they're not real because they're not their authentic selves. Like, no one was born to work at a rest stop on the side of a highway, literally anywhere in the world. I don't care where you are in the world. That's not your dream. You're not living your authentic life. But the reason you're not living your authentic life is because you're probably not in line. You're probably not eating correctly. You're probably not working out. Because when you eat correctly and work out every day, or do some sort of movement, meditation, mindfulness practice, you could then start to see real life, like, the stuff you want to manifest you'll start to attract it, because your energy is in line. So the high energy that you're putting out will come to you tenfold, right? So it's like, though, I feel compassion for those people too, because it's like, no one wants to do that, but we're trying to give you the tools and the tips to break through that matrix, because that is literally the matrix. If you're working at Chick-fil-A on the side of the highway in Pennsylvania, Delaware Water Gap, that's the matrix, bro.
It's a sad reality.
It's sad as hell.
Like, when you see like a 40-year-old woman with 2 kids working at McDonald's or Burger King flipping patties for a living, it's like, I can't help but feel love for that woman. Of like, goodness, like, she's doing it. She's not doing it for herself, bro. Like, and it sucks. That's a crazy life circumstance to be in. It's a shitty life circumstance, but she's just doing. That's her karma, I guess. It's like, what? How did she end up there? How did these people end up with these realities that they don't necessarily love, that they don't necessarily love themselves?
And a lot of times it could literally be like one wrong decision you make in your life. Like, so I guess what we're trying to say is, try to consciously go on with your life without making the wrong decisions, because it could literally be one time you mess up, the trajectory of your life could be, not your life's over, but like, could be really messed up just from like one thing. Like, oh, you went out for a couple drinks, now you're gonna get in your car. All of a sudden, you're in a car accident. Now you're in jail. Now you got a DUI for the rest of your life. You can't get a job. Something like that. You know
That
what
stuff
I mean?
happens quick.
That quick, like people, but like unconscious decisions can lead to unconscious realities, and that's like the biggest thing is if you're living consciously, if you're eating clean, going to the gym, doing all this stuff, if your mind's clear, you're not gonna make these bad unconscious decisions, and you'll live a conscious life that will ultimately like lead you to salvation.
And that opens up a whole other hour-long conversation. You bringing that up is the conscious practices of living, like conscious living. Like we could make a whole podcast on conscious living, and honestly, I think that's what our next podcast should be on is conscious living. And it's like people don't quite understand what that means, right? And it's like I'll be. We'll be out with our friends, right? And I don't know, I'm running or something. I trip over a tree branch. You're like, oh, conscious Corey. I'm like, dude, like that's not the same thing. Like the tree branch just reminded me, oh, I'm here right now. Like something that I've been trying to embody is the mantra, right? We talked about I am loving awareness last week, and that's been the mantra I've been using. And then I've also been using may all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be happy. That's been another one I've been using. But like using these different practices, these mantras, in line with the breath. So it's like we're very here during this conversation. We're talking. We're not meditating during this, but it's essentially a meditation when we have these types of conversations. Yeah. More technical difficulties. We got to figure out this whole thing. But we were just talking about conscious living and how I use my breath to be present in myself. And since I started doing yoga, right, I did the yoga and I started applying the breath with my movement. And the Qigong is the same way. I'm breathing in and exhaling out with these different movements. When I'm pulling, I'm inhaling. When I'm pushing, I'm exhaling. And it's the same for yoga. It's the same for exercise and weightlifting. And I realized that everything you can apply the breath. So then everything becomes yoga. So as I'm writing, I'm consciously breathing with the line. So as I'm pushing out, right? When I'm cracking eggs, I'm not only doing it excuse me, not only doing it when I'm doing a conscious or spiritual practice. My whole life is my spiritual practice. There's no distinction between my Qigong and my meditation and my exercise and my feeding myself. It's all the same thing. It's all life. This life is we've undertook the responsibility of having a spiritual life, if you want to call it that. If you want to put a label on our life.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the breath is what allows us to be present all the time because, like, there's this story. I think pretty sure I've said this before.
Got a
but the
booger on your nose.
Shit. Still there?
Now you're good.
Fuck. No, but what I was saying, the story of Jesse Itzler in the book called Living with the Monks, he was at the monastery with the monks. Like, essentially, he was there for like 14 days, like 2 weeks, I think. And the one day, like, all the monks threw a party. Essentially, the monks had a party. There was like a couple hundred dishes that had to be cleaned. And then the monk was Jesse was like, essentially complaining that there was all these dishes and like it was gonna take him forever to clean all these dishes. And the monk was like, Jesse was like, I have X amount of dishes left. And the monk was like, nah, you only have the dish that's in your hand. And Jesse was like, okay, like, you're right. Like, I have to be present in this moment. And he started breathing essentially with each plate he was cleaning. He was in the present moment, and the breath allowed him to stay in that present moment. Because then he realized, okay, like, the only thing we have to do is like what we're doing like right now. Like, I could be thinking about going out later, but like I'm just thinking about like this right now. And I think the breath helps you stay centered, helps you stay in the present moment at all times. Also, I shouted out Ram Dass and Sola Jarrett. I told you this the other day. He said, breathe as if you have nostrils in your heart.
I meant to tell you that changed You told me that,
and it's an awareness shift that he was saying. And like, I was laying down in bed watching that when I like first saw it, and like, it switched my awareness to breathe from like my heart, and I was like, it's crazy. It is actually a very different feeling, and it's a way better feeling than just like breathing from my nose, I guess.
Breathing in love.
Yeah, exactly.
Breathing in love, exhaling love.
And then with that, you get a full. It's essentially as if like when you're breathing from your heart, it's essentially like you're breathing in from the diaphragm, kind of.
No, the diaphragm is more the stomach. The heart breath is a little bit different because
I know, but I'm saying like it's the same kind of like you get a full breath.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like
Okay,
you get the full breath. Like,
no, I understand what
like,
you're saying.
Or these people when they be sleeping, Tommy be sleeping with his mouth open, like snoring crazy, yo. And it's like you gotta get your breath right, yo.
I still sleep with my mouth. I need to start doing the mouth tape. I want to try.
What does that stop you from mouth breathing at night?
Yo, you go to bed and you tape your mouth shut, and you tape your mouth shut so you can only breathe through your nose. And at first, it's like super uncomfortable.
I think that would, think that'd be uncomfortable.
But people get used to it, and then they just like start. They have like special mouth tape for your mouth.
That's crazy.
And it changes a lot. Like your whole facial structure changes when you sleep with your breathing out of your nose. But I don't know. It's super interesting. I think next podcast we should do it all on the breath and conscious living.
I'm down.
So
this was more so about the food and the stuff. We kind of got a little off track at the end.
With the drugs.
But just eat clean, and you will see good things manifest into your life just from having a good diet, honestly.
Yeah.
If you don't do anything else, eating clean, I think, is like...
Even if you're not spiritual or like
you don't have to be spiritual to eat clean, but I think once you start eating clean, the rest will come because you feel better, you feel happy, and then once you start feeling happy all the time, it's like it's kind of when that stuff gets introduced because you want to stay in that high vibration at all times, and then you figure out more ways to raise your vibration and stay in that resonant frequency at all times.
Yeah.
And I think it pretty much stems from it stems from the breath or the diet, one or the other. Whatever you start with, you'll eventually come to the other one. That's what I think.
We're aligning ourselves in all sorts of ways.
Yeah,
man.
bro.
But
We also have, I want to shout out, well, that guy. Shout out that guy. Nah, but I'm pretty sure today is D-Day. Shout out all those guys that died for us to make this podcast right now on D-Day.
Shout out them.
Shout out Grandpa.
Positive call out.
Positive call out.
Positive call out. All
Because
right.
they don't get enough love, bro. The vets don't get enough love.
Send them love, bro. Stop hating these dudes.
Stop hating. Yeah. Nah, love these guys, bro. They need love. The vets need more love than a lot of people, bro.
Yeah.
They need a lot of love, the vets. So shout out vets.
Shout out the vets.
Thank
High
you.
key. Thank you, veterans.
Thank you, veterans. Have a great day.
We are being.
We
Check
are
us out.
being media.
Every platform. Thank you.
Bye.